Good morning. Good morning. Hey Anna, let me flip this around. Woo, crazy hair. I just want to do a really quick demonstration scope on wax seal stamps. Someone saw it on my Instagram and it's just so fun and easy. Hey Anna, it's just so fun and easy. I wanted to share it very quickly. I have my son here to hold the iPad so that we can show. And I wanted to, since I had my matches out for the wax seal, I thought I would do a little demonstration on the properties of wool because it's mentioned. Good morning, Andy. It's mentioned in Nature Study to wear wool when you're outside, and that also has a connection to history. So we'll go ahead and start. This is what I did. It was just a simple, I actually found my stamp on clearance at Michael's years ago, but I saw the same one on Amazon that you can still order, and it's just a simple heart, and it comes with the wax sticks. So I'll go ahead and show you simply, because this does have a historical significance. Everybody knows about sealing the letters. I'm sure you've seen it in a movie. But I'll go ahead and go and let my son hold the iPad for me. Let me flip this around. Here, hold it for me. And okay. So we're going to stamp this. I'm going to use, this is one I did yesterday and it didn't do very well. So if you mess up, you just scrape it off and try again. So all you do is light it, and eventually the wax will start. I should have gotten it warm. Eventually the wax will start dripping down. I imagine you could do this with a candle. You don't have to have a fancy stick of wax, but it's pretty to do it this way. I can tell. Can you see it starting to drip? Ooh, it's going to splatter. There it goes. So you just let it drip and drip and drip until you've got a good blob. And on the envelope, you just do it right on the seal. That's not quite enough. It's almost enough to make a good stamp. For the sake of time, I may not let it drip enough to do a fat, gooey stamp. I like the smoke. I think the smoke is neat. So we'll just see what we can get out of that much wax. Stop. And you don't want the wax to fall. Just let it rest. You don't want the wax to cover that. Make sure I don't have it upside down. I've done that before. And just press down. See, I didn't have enough to do a full one because I wanted it to be faster, but you can see the imprint. And if I had let more wax drip, so it's simple as that. You just drop wax and press down. Okay. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about wool, and we can flip it back around, I think, for this. Okay, so that was easy as pie, wasn't it? Easy as pie to do the stamp. And like I said, I didn't let enough wax drip so it wouldn't take forever, but you got to see the the general idea of how it works. Now, yes, thrift store fine. Everything I have is from the thrift store. Yeah, it's going to take a while. I don't I do it sometimes. I did it this time recently because I just joined a pen pal group and it was special. Yes, it was a kit. I bought it years ago on clearance. I said earlier, yes, for special, but I could do it all the time if I wanted to. I just don't. This kit is still for sale on Amazon. It's under $10 and you can get extra wax sticks, but you can use regular candles too. Now I want to talk about wool. I know that, oh, I forgot to introduce myself. Let me do that really quick. No, it's like $5 or $6. Did you miss it, Amy? I bet you missed the wax thing. I might have to do it again. You can find me on Instagram and Homeschool Scopes TV. Now I want to talk about the significance of wool. You hear people say to wear wool, you know, yes, watch the replay. To wear wool if you're outside doing nature study. Well, I'm new here, so a lot of people don't know us, but we are, I don't do it that much anymore, but in the past we are living historians. And this is a tintype of us several years ago. He is now 14 at Fort Anderson in North Carolina. Hey, holds. Okay. Yes, well, a lot of people say that, and it did used to itch me some, the wool, but I started wearing it more, and I guess I just got used to it. This is our latest tintype when we were doing a basket making demonstration down here. This is my now 19-year-old son and myself. Good morning, Ingrid. I can't breathe. Well, that's really sad because wool is absolutely amazing. And I don't know if you can notice, I have a lot of different layers of clothing. I'm wearing a wool dress and this is a wool apron. So whenever I do basket making, it's a very wet handicraft. A lot of water involved. And the properties of wool, because of the lanolin, because of the lanolin that's in there, it is water resistant. So I can, whenever I'm working in my baskets, if I have this, even in modern clothing, I'll wear my wool apron on top. And you can see the water just stays right on top and rolls off of the wool. If I were to do that on cotton, and I can do it on cotton, on my napkin here, it just soaks right in. Oh, good. Okay. So that's one of the properties of wool and why historically people would wear wool, especially for their outer garments. We have lived for a weekend as historically accurate as possible with no, insulation or heating or stuff like that. People used to, their houses weren't as tight as ours are now. I mean, I still live in an old house, so we have lots of nooks and crannies. So everybody knows wool is warm, but a lot of people don't know about the other properties of wool. So like historically, if they were, if you were wearing your cotton dress and you threw on a wool wrap and you went outside, you have to go. Sometimes the historical houses were almost like being outside because there was no insulation, no sealed windows. So when you went outside, yes, wool is great in any damp area because it keeps the moisture away from you. So I've been outside with a cloak on in the rain and not be soaked through, whereas if I'd have had a cotton outer garment, I would have been soaked through and probably gotten sick. So that's one of the good properties of wool because of the lanolin. Another wonderful property that has a historical significance of wool is that it is fire retardant. This is a scrap of felted wool that I have, and in other words, it's been dried in the dryer and it's shrunk and it's real tightly woven. And I use this as my pot holder when cooking on open hearth cooking with the cast iron pots, and those things get ridiculously hot. And as a historical interpreter, and we're using, cooking realistically in real fire, super hot, we're around real fire in the great big skirts close to the fire. we want to make sure that our garment that's hanging down is made of 100% wool. And the way that we can test, this is so cool to me. Don't let your children do this without your help, but this is really neat. Go to the thrift store and find anything, a scarf, a blanket, a shirt that you think is wool. Bring them home. Don't, or read the label. But if it doesn't have the label, this is how you can tell if you have 100% wool. You try to catch it on fire. I love doing this. Anyway, you can see if this was cotton. Hey Jessica, if this it doesn't even take. If this was cotton, it would be flamed already. It will and what happens is it turns to ash. Can you see that? And it just disintegrates. And it literally smells like a burnt sheet. It's got a very unique odor. So if my skirts are made out of this and it brushes against a fire, and all my dress isn't going to catch on fire as if it were cotton. And there's different weights of wool. Yes, so if you get an old sweater from the thrift store that's 100% wool, throw it in the dryer, make you some pot holders, just cut them out. Like you don't even have to sew. Best thing for pot holders and for holding hot utensils. Yeah, good insulation, So, but there are other, and a lot of people think of wool as like thick and heavy, and this sweater has some wool in it, and it's very warm. Once we learned about the significance of using natural fibers in our clothing instead of synthetic fibers, we're reading labels all the time, and we buy clothes with 100% cotton, with silk, with linen, with wool. We love it. But this is my apron. Yes, merino wool. Oh, I forgot to bring out my favorite wool for socks is alpaca wool socks. You can wear them in the summer and the winter, and it's fine because it keeps the moisture. Like in the summer, if your feet are hot and you sweat, keeps it out of your, off of your feet. Some people, when I bought them, the salesperson was like, oh, you never have to wash your socks again. I don't go that far. I wash my socks, but I don't dry them. Yes, it's very breathable, very soft. My favorite kind of socks is alpaca wool. But this is my apron, so you can see the difference in thickness and texture. It's not as heavy. This is my pot holder. It's felted wool. Now this is like a fashion wool for a historic dress, but you can still find like modern day skirts and jackets that are made out of this, quality. So, you can see the thinness, and it's just soft and smooth, and it does the same thing. We have to test to make sure we don't have any synthetics in our clothing. And then this is my thinnest wool that I have right now, and you can probably see through it. See? This is a lightweight or sheer wool, and they had wool historically that it was as thin as sheer wool that they would do dresses for the summer because it was actually cooler to wear the wool dresses. We only hand wash these, and when you think of historical clothing, they had so many undergarments that this was not next to their skin, so it didn't get the dead skin cells or so forth on them. So historically they would just spot clean, so that's what I do with my historic clothing. If it's a modern clothing wool, I will hand wash it in cold water some, or spot wash it and hang it to dry, because if you dry 100% wool, you're gonna get felting. So it does take a little bit more care, but the same thing with silk and linen, and you can just get used to taking better, just paying attention. So this is the lightweight wool, but I wanted to show you that this is just a little extra. This is a piece of fabric that I picked up at the thrift store, and I'm getting to where I can pretty much tell by touch if it has wool in it or not. But before I make a garment out of it for historical clothing, I have to make sure that it's 100% wool. Because if it's not, and I'm using it for something that I might be near a fire, it might be unsafe for me. And I want to be safe. I don't want to get burnt. So this is a piece that I tested to see if it was 100% wool, and this is what happens when it's not. It is catching on fire, and I don't know if you can see it's like plastic. Yay! I just showed them this is a piece that is not 100% wool and it has synthetics. You can tell it's got a little bit of wool, but because, oh, and it stinks. It smells like plastic. So this has synthetic fiber in it. See, it will definitely flame up and it gets sticky and gooey. So you know, I would not use this piece of fabric to make clothing that I'm going to be working near the fire. And this is another piece that was in my grandmother's stuff. Already lit that. And I thought this might have some cotton or wool in it. But see how it flames up? And that is plastic too. So you know it's got synthetic fibers in it, because this, when you buy a piece of fabric, if you just want to buy a piece of fabric to make some pot holders or something, that's the way you can test it to make sure it's 100% wool. Again, the stuff that is 100% wool, I'll go ahead and show you one more time because I love setting fabric on fire. This is 100% wool. You see, it did not flame up, and it just comes apart like ashes, and it smells like a stinky sheet. So this is just, yes, this is just a little bit of historical fun about wool, and it's also why it's good to wear when you're outside in the wools. I found it fashionfabrics.com. I order a lot. I find a lot at thrift stores. Take my chances. I've gotten to where I can, sometimes you can smell and just feel, and I've gotten pretty good at guessing if it's 100% wool. But fashionfabrics.com a lot of times will sell really nice wool for like $5 a yard, which is a great bargain. Yeah, well, it can be labeled 100% wool and not be truly 100% wool. Now, like for our socks, we're supposed to wear 100% wool, but we do have some that have lycra around the band, and to help keep them up, because historically, if you wear all 100% socks, you're going to have elephant legs that are going to be falling down around your ankles, and it's very annoying. So we do buy some for that have. There's different places. I found some on Amazon that say they're 100% wool. There's this really funny place called Sock Dreams that has all kinds of crazy socks, but they do have a pair that we use that go over the knee. We need over the knee socks for this is just for historical purposes. For my own purposes, you can find wool in a lot of the stores. Like I found wool socks at American Eagle, at Timberlake, Lord have mercy, Timberland, Bass Outlets. We live near an outlet store, a big Carolina Pottery Outlets. We're not far from that in North Carolina. So we go there and we find a lot of wool socks for personal use. I've got wool socks on now living in the historical house. Yay, yay. Well, I thought that would just be fun to share. I'm going to actually hop off now because we are going to do some school today because it's a school day. I might hop back on in a minute and show how we do our Sketch Monday, just a little drawing thing whenever the grandchildren get here, just because it's fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit about wool, the historical significance, and wear it for your outer garments and socks when you go out in the woods and you're doing nature walking. Unless you're allergic, it's very, very, very good to wear wool when you're outside. It'll keep you dry, and especially like if you have a fire pit or something, it's nice to have wool because it's fire retardant. So anyway, I just wanted to share that little bit because stuff like that excites me. And yes, I know a lot of people don't. They see whenever I do a demonstration and what I'm wearing. Yes, about to have 4 grandkids, maybe even today. They wonder why I have so many layers on and what the significance of them are. So I just wanted to share that because it's so much fun. The historical significance of wool and why people wore it, and why it's still a good thing to wear today in our modern world. And someone mentioned they used it for lining the diapers, and that's really cool because of the water resistance, and it's because of the lanolin in there. You know, you can get the little tubes of lanolin in the mama section of the, for the mama care for breastfeeding moms, the lanolin, but I use it for my hands because it's so wonderful. So, you know, God's creation is amazing, and the more you learn about it, it just blows me away that he decided to put this stuff. Yeah, oh yeah, alpaca is amazing. Yes, great lip balm. I mean, all these wonderful things that he's given us in nature that make us more comfortable, and you know, we've gotten so modernized, people forget or don't know, and it's so exciting to find that way. No, I know that you can check for synthetics and cotton material by soaking it in Clorox, because the cotton will disintegrate in Clorox and the synthetics will stay. But that's a whole nother story. So, but anyway, I will sign off, and I'm so glad to share, and I'm going to put this on. Don't forget to go to Homeschool Scopes TV, the Facebook group, and they will have, you know, all kinds of scopes listed by the end of the day for you to watch. You guys have a great day. I'm going to flip this camera around and sign off.